Jai Sparikar Shri Shri Guru Garanga Shri Shri Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Thakur Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Haribol. So today is Hera Panchami, Lakshmi Vijay, as celebrated in by our time frame. So we're reading about that today in Chaitanya Charitamrta chapter 14. Tomorrow will be the function of Hera Panchami or Lakshmi Vijay. Hold that, this is Maharaj Prataparudra speaking. He's instructing devotees how to perform the pastimes, how to celebrate with decorations and so forth. Hold this festival in a way that it has never been held before. King Prataparudra said, hold this festival in such a gorgeous way that upon seeing it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be completely pleased and astonished. Take as many printed cloths, small bells, umbrellas, and chamaras as there are in my storehouse and in the deity's storehouse. Collect all kinds of small and large flags and ringing bells. Then decorate the carrier and have various musical and dancing parties accompany it. In this way, decorate the carrier attractively. The carrier meaning the Rath car for Sri Lakshmi Devi. You should also double the quantity of prasad. Make so much that it will even surpass the Rath Yatra festival. Arrange the festival in such a way that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may freely go with his devotees to visit the deity without difficulty. In the morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his personal associates with him to see Lord Jagannath at Sundarachala. Sundarachala refers to the place of the Gundicha temple, where the Jagannath Puri, the temple of Sri Jagannath Dev, is in Nilachala. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal devotees returned to Nilachala with great eagerness to see the Hera Panchami festival. So they went from, Mahaprabhu and his devotees went from the Gundicha temple to the Jagannath temple in Puri to see the Vijay, Lakshmi Vijay Mahotsava. Kashi Mishra received Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great respect, and taking the Lord and his associates to a very nice place, he had them seated. After taking his rest, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to hear about a particular mellow of devotional service. Therefore, mildly smiling, he began to question Swarup Damodar. And so he asked Swarup Damodar, although Lord Jagannath enjoys his pastimes at Dwarkadam and naturally manifests sublime liberality there, still once a year he becomes unlimitedly eager to see Vrindavan. Pointing out the neighboring gardens, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all these gardens exactly resemble Vrindavan. Therefore, Lord Jagannath is very eager to see them again. Externally, he gives the excuse that he wants to participate in the Rath Yatra festival. But actually he wants to leave Jagannath Puri to go to Sundarachala, Gudicha temple, the replica of Vrindavan. The Lord enjoys his pastimes day and night in various flower gardens there. But why did he not take Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, with him? Swarup Damodar replied, "My dear Lord, please hear the reason for this. Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, cannot be admitted to the pastimes of Vrindavan. In the pastimes of Vrindavan, the only assistants are the gopis. But for the gopis, no one can attract the mind of Krishna." The Lord replied, "Using the car festival as an excuse, Krishna goes there with Subhadra and Baladev. All the pastimes with the gopis that take place in those gardens are very confidential ecstasies of Lord Krishna. No one knows them. Since there is no fault at all in Krishna's pastimes, why does the goddess of fortune become angry?" Again, this is Mahaprabhu asking this question to Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar replied, "It is the nature of a girl afflicted by love to become immediately angry upon finding neglect on the part of her lover." When Swarupa Damodar and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were talking, the procession of the goddess of fortune came by. She was riding upon a golden palanquin, carried by 4 men and bedecked with a variety of jewels. The palanquin was also surrounded by people carrying umbrellas, chamara whisks, and flags, and it was preceded by musicians and dancing girls. The maidservants were carrying water pitchers, chamara whisks, and boxes for betel nuts. There were hundreds of maidservants, all attractively dressed with valuable necklaces. In an angry mood, the goddess of fortune arrived at the main gate of the temple, accompanied by many members of her family, all of whom exhibited uncommon opulence. So this is one of the female wiles that a lady may try to attract her lover by exhibiting different types of opulences. So the goddess of fortune, she's very angry with Lord Jagannath, and she is displaying her opulence, and there is no one more opulent than Sri Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune. But that is not sufficient to attract Krishna of Vrindavan. So although the goddess of fortune is unlimitedly opulent, there's another opulence that is even more satisfying and appealing to the heart of Sri Krishna, and that is the raga marg mood of the devotees of Vrindavan, the spontaneous loving affection especially of the gopis of Vrindavan, who are not only find such opulence unappealing, or they are not attracted by it, but they actually find it unappealing. And they find the simple beauty of the gardens of Vrindavan, the forests of Vrindavan, and the sweetness of the rural life to be much more appealing than the grandeur of Dwarka. So Lord Jagannath, he is, and Lakshmi Devi, they are residing in Dwarka. They are residents, considered to be residents of Dwarka. And although the residents of Vrindavan could travel to Dwarka any time to see Sri Krishna, they never go there. They would rather remember him in his Vrindavan pastimes than to see him in the regal and royal surroundings of Dwarka. I don't know if... So this is mentioned by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The pastimes of Jagannath Ratha Yatra are reminiscent of the pastimes of Krishna going to Kurukshetra for the observance of the solar eclipse. And traveling out of Dwarka to Kurukshetra, the residents of Vrindavan also take the opportunity to see Krishna again, who they've not seen for a long time. So Krishna of Dwarka is traveling with his chariots and elephants and horses and queens and so many other great personalities to Kurukshetra. Excuse me. And the residents of Vrindavan, Nanda and Yashoda Maharaj, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, and others, all of the persons of Vrindavan who want to have been, whose hearts have been pained so much and for so long by the separation of Krishna, that they are going there, and Krishna is visiting with them, paying his obeisances to his mother and father. And then when the opportunity presents itself, visiting with the gopis in a secluded place to give them the chance of his association as they had previously experienced it in Vrindavan. And there, Srimati Radharani explains, I just want to go ahead a little bit and see if I can find something here. So during the Rath Yatra festival, Mahaprabhu recites a verse which is something of a common verse of the time, like some poetry or song, describing how a woman is, a married lady, is remembering the pastimes of her youth with some boy that she knew when she was a young girl or a younger lady, and she is feeling some longing for those days again. And Srimati Radharani expresses this through the writing of Sri Rupa Goswami, who composed this verse. Priyak soyang Krishna sahachari kurukshetra militas tatahang sa radha ubhayo sangama sukam tatyapyanta kelan madhura murali panchama jushe mano me kalindi vipanaya sprihayati. And so she's expressing in this verse, actually Rupa Goswami is expressing the heart feelings of Srimati Radharani, that she is she is meeting Krishna in Kurukshetra. Now we are meeting together in Kurukshetra. But I'm not at all satisfied with this meeting. You are the same Krishna, and I am the same Radharani. But it is not the same as those previous times when we met on the banks of the Kalindi, the river Kalindi. And there you're playing your flute, and the fifth note of that the music was of your flute is so appealing to me, and your beauty is also so appealing, but not by itself, but because this is also my home. We are enjoying these pastimes in my home, Sri Vrindavan. And it's the nature of the female constitution that they are very attached to their home. And Srimati Radharani was very attached to Vrindavan. So even when Krishna left Vrindavan, Radharani would not leave. She could not leave Vrindavan. And because of that, and something also, the man attached to a woman, he also tends to, tendency is that a woman likes to be near her family and her birth family and their home. And often I've seen that when men and women marry, they often end up living near the woman's previous home. Not near the man's previous home, but near the woman's. If they are both from two different places, two different cities, or two different localities, they often end up settling near the place where the woman lives, so that she'll be near her parents. So Srimati Radharani showed such a character herself, the Vrindavan, and she uses the appeal of Krishna, that your mother, Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they're missing you so much, and you are so cruelly, you have left them. Why don't you return to them? So maybe you won't return to me, but you can leave your mother and father. Don't you feel affection and attraction for them? Don't you want to be near them? And don't you want to pacify their hearts, whose hearts are breaking in your absence, and your friends, the cowherd boys, and even the trees and the creepers. They are also missing your association. They are feeling your absence so strongly. And don't you feel anything for them? Don't you feel any loss yourself in their absence? But at any rate, I am feeling it, and in any other environment, I am not interested. I find the union with you in Kurukshetra to make your absence from me feel even more intense. That although we are together here, instead of feeling together, I am feeling more absent. I'm feeling your absence. Your separation has become stronger. So this so it's very painful for Srimati Radharani. The expectation of meeting Krishna was the expectation of her happiness and satisfaction in meeting Krishna exceeded the experience itself, because the experience was disappointing. And in that disappointment, the separation she felt for her Lord became more intense and stronger. So we worship and we adore and we serve in the mood of union and separation, Vipralamba Seva. Because our mistress, Srimati Radharani, that is her mood, and her service is all performed in that way. So when Krishna leaves Vrindavan to go to Mathura, promising to return shortly but never returning, then Srimati Radharani continues to serve Krishna. She never leaves that seva. But feeling Krishna's separation, she continues in the mood of separation, service and separation. And in that feeling the intense separation of Sri Krishna, his presence is felt more intensely than even when he is showing himself to be personally present in Vrindavan. So that is the height of service. That is the apex. That is the ultimate. To serve Krishna and feel his presence as union and separation. So then, now meeting in Kurukshetra, Srimati, and this is felt by all the, Srimati Radharani is the example, because she is her position is supermost. So she's the example, but the other gopis, the cowherd boys, Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, they no doubt feeling the same thing. And also knowing that we are meeting here at Kurukshetra with our beloved Krishna, but soon he will return to Dwarka and we will return to Vrindavan, and then our situation will be as it was before. So the whole procession being described here of Lakshmi Devi, she is showing her opulence. She is exhibiting her opulence. And Krishna in Dwarka is such, the opulence there is unimaginable. So Lakshmi Devi, she is, her husband has left her to, and alone, not alone, with Baladev and Subhadra, but gone to Vrindavan. And Lakshmi Devi is thinking, I cannot tolerate this. What kind of thing is this? That I am such an opulent lady, and my husband has no right to behave so badly with me, but something has attracted him there, obviously, so how will I get him back? And so, in an angry mood, she is chastising her servants and his servants. And exhibiting her opulence, she is thinking, just see what you're missing, Krishna, Jagannath. Look what you're missing. To associate with some village people in some, simple forest setting. Here we have some even my maidservants are decorated with beautiful necklaces, jewels. The carriage that I am riding on, my palanquin, is decorated with jewels, and it is everything is very ornate and beautiful. And I have such a big procession, so many great personalities are accompanying me, and they are all with me. And why will you, seeing this, of course you'll not be interested to spend your time with those simple village people. What do they have to offer in comparison? Hare Krishna. If she only knew. She can never know, actually. She can have some idea, but she can never know. So for that reason, because she can never know, she cannot enter into those pastimes which are reserved exclusively for the Brajabasis, for Sri Radha and her friends, and Krishna and his friends. So this is the supreme position of Srimati Radharani. Nothing, no amount of opulence can turn the mind of Krishna away from Srimati Radharani. Her qualities exceed the qualities of all others, the quality of her devotion. When the procession arrived, the maidservants of the goddess of fortune began to arrest all the principal servants of Lord Jagannath. The maidservants bound the servants of Jagannath, handcuffed them, and made them fall down at the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune. Indeed, they were arrested just like thieves who have all their riches taken away. When the servants fall down before the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune, they almost fall unconscious. They are chastised and made the butt of jokes and loose language. So the servants of Sri Lakshmi Devi, they're of course devoted to her, their mistress, and seeing their mistress rebuking her husband, now they are following suit and rebuking her husband's servants, right? You jackasses. They're cursing his Jagannath servants. You nonsense people, chastising them, making jokes about them. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates saw such impudence exhibited by the maid servants of the goddess of fortune, they covered their faces with their hands and began to smile. Swarup Damodar said, "There is no egoistic pride like this within the three worlds. At least, I have neither seen nor heard of it." No egoistic pride like that of the maidservants of Sri Lakshmi Devi. When a woman is neglected and disappointed, out of egoistic pride, she gives up her ornaments and morosely sits down on the floor, marking lines on it with her nails. I have heard of this kind of pride in Satyabhama, Krishna's proudest queen. And I have also heard of it in the gopis of Vrindavan, who are the reservoirs of all transcendental mellows. But in the case of the goddess of fortune, I see a different kind of pride. She manifests her own opulences and even goes with her soldiers to attack her husband. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Please tell me of the varieties of egoistic pride manifest in Vrindavan." Swarup Damodar replied, "The pride of the gopis is like a river flowing with hundreds of tributaries. The characteristics and modes of love are different in different women. Their jealous anger also takes on different varieties and qualities. It is not possible to give a complete statement about the different types of jealous anger manifest by the gopis, but a few principles may serve as an indication. There are three types of women experiencing jealous anger: sober women, restless women, and women both restless and sober. When a sober heroine sees her hero approaching from a distance, she immediately stands up to receive him. When he comes near, she immediately offers him a place to sit. The sober heroine conceals her anger within her heart and externally speaks sweet words. When her lover embraces her, she also returns his embrace. The sober heroine is very simple in her behavior. She keeps her jealous anger within her heart, but with mild words and smiles, she refutes the advances of her lover. So she hides everything and shows a mood of sweetness and cooperation with her husband or her lover, but he knows that she is disturbed with me. She just makes it known in a hiding. By hiding it, she is also showing her jealous anger. The restless heroine, however, sometimes chastises her lover with cruel words, sometimes pulls his ear, and sometimes binds him with a flower garland. The heroine, who is a combination of sobriety and restlessness, always jokes with equivocal words. She sometimes praises her lover, sometimes blasphemes him, and sometimes remains indifferent. Heroines may also be classified as captivated, intermediate, and impudent. The captivated heroine does not know very much about the cunning intricacies of jealous anger. The captivated heroine simply covers her face and goes on crying. When she hears sweet words from her lover, she is very satisfied. Both the intermediate and impudent heroines can be classified as sober, restless, and both sober and restless. All their characteristics can be further classified in 3 divisions. Okay, let me see something here. I'm just going to skip over a little bit here. The gopis can be divided into a left wing and a right wing. Both wings induce Krishna to taste transcendental mellows by various manifestations of ecstatic love. Of all the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the chief. She is a jewel mine of ecstatic love and the source of all purified transcendental conjugal mellows. Radharani is grown up, and her character is equipoised. She is always deeply absorbed in ecstatic love and always feeling in the mood of a left-wing gopi. Because she is a left-wing gopi, her womanly anger is always awakening, but Krishna derives transcendental bliss from her activities. The progress of loving affairs between young couples is by nature crooked, like the movement of a snake. Because of this, 2 types of anger arise between young couples: anger with a cause and anger without a cause. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these talks, his ocean of transcendental bliss increased. He therefore told Swarup Damodar, "Go on speaking, go on speaking." And thus Swarup Damodar continued. Srimati Radharani's love is a highly advanced ecstasy. All her dealings are completely pure and devoid of material tinge. Indeed, her dealings are 10 times purer than gold. As soon as Radharani gets a chance to see Krishna, her body is suddenly decorated with various ecstatic ornaments. The transcendental ornaments of Srimati Radharani's body include the 8 sattvikas, or transcendental symptoms, the 33 Vyabhichare bhavas, beginning with harsha, or jubilation in natural love, and the 20 bhavas, or ecstatic emotional ornaments. Okay, I think I want to skip a little bit of this too. It is not at all possible to describe the unlimited pastimes of Sri Krishna, even though he, in this way, Srimati Radharani is ornamented and decorated with various ecstatic symptoms which attract the mind of Sri Krishna. It is not at all possible to describe the unlimited pastimes of Sri Krishna, even though he himself describes them in his incarnation of Sahasravadana, the thousand-mouthed Sheshanaga. This time Srivas Thakur smiled and told Damodar Pandit, "My dear sir, please hear. Just see how opulent my goddess of fortune is. As far as Vrindavan's opulence is concerned, it consists of a few flowers and twigs, some minerals from the hills, a few peacock feathers, and the plant known as gunja." So Srivas Thakur is going to take up the defense of Lakshmi Devi. And so he says, "My dear sir," speaking to Damodar Pandit, "My dear sir, just see how opulent my goddess of fortune is. Vrindavan, what is that? A few twigs and branches, some plant known as gunja, a few peacock feathers." When Jagannath decided to see Vrindavan, he went there, and upon hearing this, the goddess of fortune experienced restlessness and jealousy. She wondered, why did Lord Jagannath give up such opulence and go to Vrindavan? To make him a laughing stock, the goddess of fortune made arrangements for much decoration. Then the maidservants of the goddess of fortune said to the servants of Lord Jagannath, "Why did your Lord Jagannath," you see how they're distinguishing the different parties here. The maidservants of the goddess of fortune, "Oh, your Lord Jagannath, we have nothing to do with him. Your Lord Jagannath. Why did your Lord Jagannath abandon the great opulence of the goddess of fortune? And for the sake of a few leaves, fruits, and flowers, go see the flower garden of Srimati Radharani. Your master is so expert at everything, but why does he do such things? Please bring your master before the goddess of fortune." Lakshmi, please bring your master before Lakshmi Devi. In this way, all the maidservants of the goddess of fortune arrested the servants of Jagannath, bound them around the waist, and brought them before the goddess of fortune, like slaves. Like you bind slaves together and then move them wherever you like. When all the maidservants brought Lord Jagannath's servants before the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, the Lord's servants were fined and forced to submit. All the maidservants began to beat the Rath car with sticks, and they treated the servants of Lord Jagannath almost like thieves. Finally, all of Lord Jagannath's servants submitted to the goddess of fortune with folded hands, assuring her that they would bring Lord Jagannath before her the very next day. Being thus pacified, the goddess of fortune returned to her apartment. Just see, my goddess of fortune is opulent beyond all description. Srivas Thakur continued to address Swarup Damodar. Your gopis are engaged in boiling milk and churning it to turn it into yogurt. But my mistress, the goddess of fortune, sits on a throne made of jewels and gems. Srivas Thakur, who was enjoying the mood of Narada Muni, thus made jokes. So what he's saying, he's joking here. Your gopis are engaged in boiling milk and churning it into yogurt. But my mistress sits on a throne of jewels. Srivas Thakur, who was enjoying the mood of Narada Muni, thus made jokes. Hearing him, all the personal servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to smile. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told Srivas Thakur, my dear Srivas, your nature is exactly like that of Narada Muni. The Supreme Personality of Godhead's opulence is having a direct influence upon you. Swarup Damodar is a pure devotee of Vrindavan. He does not even know what opulence is, for he is simply absorbed in pure devotional servants. So, Mahaprabhu is, in essence, telling Srivas Thakur, you poor man, you have you have been hurled down to Vaikuntha. You have become enamored by the opulence of Vaikuntha, and because of that, you have left your place in Vrindavan. But Swarup Damodar, he is not foolish like you. He is a pure devotee of Vrindavan. He does not even know what opulence is, for he is simply absorbed in pure devotional service. Swarup Damodar then retorted, my dear Srivas, please hear me with attention. You have forgotten the transcendental opulence of Vrindavan. The natural opulence of Vrindavan is just like an ocean. The opulence of Dwarka and Vaikuntha is not even to be compared to a drop. Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full of all opulences, and his complete opulences are exhibited only in Vrindavan Dham. Vrindavan Dham is made of transcendental touchstone. Its entire surface is the source of all valuable jewels. So, you think those, Srivas, you think those jewels possessed by the goddess of fortune or something? Vrindavan, the whole land is full of such jewels. The soil itself is made of such jewels. Its entire surface is the source of all valuable jewels. You can get those anywhere in Vrindavan. You have some jewels she has on her throne in her palace. Those are the things that are strewn upon the grounds of Vrindavan. And the Chintamani stone is used to decorate the lotus feet of the maidservants of Vrindavan. Vrindavan is a natural forest of desire trees and creepers, and the inhabitants do not want anything but the fruits and flowers of those desire trees. So I think we'll stop there. Well, let's see, how far do we have to go? I'll read a little more. In Vrindavan, there are cows that fulfill all desires, Kamadenu, and their number is unlimited. They graze from forest to forest and deliver only milk. The people want nothing else. In Vrindavan, the natural speech of the people sounds like music, and their natural motion resembles a dance. The water in Vrindavan is nectar, and the Brahmajyoti effulgence, which is full of transcendental bliss, is directly perceived there in its form. The gopis there are also goddesses of fortune, and they surpass the goddess of fortune who abides in Vaikuntha. So, you're the goddess of Srivas, the goddess of fortune that you are praising. All the gopis are goddesses of fortune who surpass her. Each one of them surpasses her. In Vrindavan, Lord Krishna is always playing his transcendental flute, which is his dear companion. The damsels of Vrindavan, the gopis, are super goddesses of fortune. So you're worshipping the goddess of fortune, the gopis are super goddesses. The enjoyer in Vrindavan is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The trees there are all wish-fulfilling trees, and the land is made of transcendental touchstone. The water is all nectar. The talking is singing. The walking is dancing, and the constant companion of Krishna is his flute. The effulgence of transcendental bliss is experienced everywhere. Therefore, Vrindavan Dham is the only relishable abode. The anklets on the damsels of Vrajabhumi are made of Chintamani stone. The trees are wish-fulfilling trees, and they produce flowers with which the gopis decorate themselves. There are also wish-fulfilling cows, Kamadhenus, which deliver unlimited quantities of milk. These cows constitute the wealth of Vrindavan. Thus, Vrindavan's opulence is blissfully exhibited. Srivas then began to dance in ecstatic love. He vibrated sounds by slapping his armpits with the palms of his hands, and he laughed very loudly. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these discussions about the pure transcendental mellows of Srimati Radharani. Absorbed in transcendental ecstasy, the Lord began to dance. Thus, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love was awakened by hearing the songs of Vrindavan. In this way, he inundated Purushottam Jagannath Puri with love of Godhead. Finally, the goddess of fortune returned to her apartment. In due course of time, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing, afternoon arrived. After much singing, all 4 Sankirtan parties grew fatigued, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love increased twofold. Swarup Damodar informed the Lord that all the devotees were fatigued. Seeing this situation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to his external senses. Mahaprabhu then entered the flower garden with all his devotees. After resting there for some time, he finished his afternoon bath. Then there arrived in large quantities a variety of food that had been offered to Sri Jagannath, and a variety that had been offered to the goddess of fortune. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finished his afternoon lunch, and after his evening bath, he went to see Lord Jagannath. Okay, we'll stop there. Jai Shri Lakshmi Shri Lakshmi Vijay Maha Mahotsava Ki Jai. Jai Shri Jagannath Rath Yatra Ki Jai. Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. Jai Shri Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Dev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Ketra Ki Jai. Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Bol. So, anyway, that's Jai Parikar Shri Shri Guru Garanga Shri Shri Gandharvika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Thakur Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Sad Goswami Prabhu's Ki Jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic pastimes Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Haribol. Gaur Haribol. Hare Krishna.